Doom, 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 doom. Hey, what's up? I'm back. You didn't think I was coming back with the second episode this week, but I'm hitting you with that back-to-back days. I got some good heat for you guys today. I got into it with the dude on Twitter for no apparent reason, and I'm gonna recap last night's game because I got nothing else to do tonight. Before I begin, I'd like to let you guys know that today's episode is sponsored by water. Haven't heard of it? You probably should. It's pretty good for you. Drink it. Keep hydrated. Water, the unofficial sponsor of this podcast. So, kicking things off today, I'd like to let you guys know about this little guy I met named, I didn't meet, a guy by the name of David Engel on Twitter. He's pretty cool. He's got 22 followers, has no profile picture. And I'm just sitting in class, and this dude just starts blowing up my phone all over the place, really, just talking about Colin Kaepernick. If you read my last article, I kind of dove into that a little bit. Colin Kaepernick and Nick Foles. It's kind of funny. This dude comes in and says, "Your are totally off." Great grammar there, David. He said, maybe actually just watch the players instead of just looking at stats. Last night, Nick Foles read the defense. He even called an audible, and the team scored a touchdown. Crazy dude called one audible. If you actually watched the game, he looked terrible. Worst performance I've seen in a while from a quarterback. Couldn't throw a deep ball. Really posed no threat for the defense. There's a reason that Eagles used a bunch of running backs. Jay Ajayi was catching passes. Not really his forte. Dude then comes back. After telling me not to look at stats, he links me stats to the 2015 NFL season. Didn't watch those players, I assume, because it happened 3 years ago. But hey, he knows what he's talking about. He's ready to hit up that 2015 stats. Pretty ironic, pretty hypocritical. And then about 2 minutes later, he sends me another one saying that Nick Foles took over the quarterback of a team that wasn't on the way to the playoffs. They weren't Super Bowl bound by any means, and he took over, led them to the NFC Championship, and then took them to the Super Bowl and won. I don't get that at all. The Eagles were clearly the best team in the NFC last season. Carson Wentz was MVP candidate. Then he comes back about 5 minutes later. This is completely unprompted, by the way. I don't know what the hell this dude was talking about. But he decides he's going to send me more stats about Colin Kaepernick getting sacked. And he said, if my quarterback's going to get sacked, I would rather him throw the ball up in the air and give his receivers a chance. Great thinking. He's a beautiful football mind right there. And then, before being benched in 2015 for the final 8 games, Kaepernick was 2-6 and had 109 points in 8 games. Yeah, that's not great. Also, the 49ers as a team were terrible in 2015. If he would have read my article, which I assume he did, I don't know how he would have targeted me for this. He would have known that the Niners didn't really have a good team. They didn't have any talent, and Kaepernick was kind of left out there to dry. So I don't blame him at all for that. But David, I do want to give you a nice shout out. You made my day. Keep them coming. I know you're sending me a whole bunch of shit today, so. It's looking good. But anyway, on to some real notes here. I'll recap last night's game. I thought Atlanta was going to come in and kind of dominate the Eagles. I thought they had a lot of talent. I thought Matt Ryan would bounce back. I thought Steve Sarkisian would look like he knew what he was doing for the first time as the offensive coordinator. Turns out I was wrong. And although Nick Foles won that game, I know the greatest quarterback of all time if you look at how he carried a team last year that had no hope. I don't think Nick Foles was very good. I think there's a reason that the Eagles used a bunch of running backs, got the ball out quick. Chris Collinsworth was in love with the idea of the RPO. That wasn't really an RPO. It was just play-action passes. But the Falcons, they drove the ball well early, got down to the red zone, and then Steve Sarkisian took over, didn't know what he was doing in the red zone, had terrible play calls. I don't know if it's Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was looking terrible as well. He threw the ball out of bounds a lot. Last drive of the game, had a chance to win. He threw the ball out of bounds, back-to-back plays, I believe. Didn't even give his receivers a chance to catch it. And you got Julio Jones. You just got to give him a chance. Speaking of Julio Jones, I wasn't very high on him this year in fantasy because of that whole situation of him holding out, wanting more money, not feeling respected by the team. Turns out I was wrong because he came back with dreads. Not long dreads, but he had some small dreads coming in. Underestimated him. you rock dreads like that, you're gonna be a star. That's just science. And so I should have taken that into more consideration. I wish I would have researched what he was going to be doing this year, but that's a little bit off tangent. So yeah, 2 years ago Matt Ryan was MVP. He had Kyle Shanahan as his off. Shanahan's a great offensive mind. I mean, he's going to do big things this year, even with the 49ers. Matt Ryan, now he's stuck with Steve Sarkisian, so was it all game planning for Matt Ryan, and was Kyle Shanahan making him who he was? I don't think Matt Ryan's bad, but I don't think he's in that elite category. I don't think he's one of the top 5, 6 quarterbacks in the league. I do think he's probably in the top 10 to 12, but there's a lot of question marks with him, and I would personally blame it on Steve Sarkisian. And with Steve Sarkisian, I mean, he's terrible. Like, it's not fun to watch him call plays. I mean, he has a lot of weapons. You got Tevin Coleman, Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman, Mohamed Sanu. They drafted a receiver in the first round, and they're not producing points. They put up 12 points last night on the Eagles. They had the ball in the red zone like 3 or 4 times. Without even scoring on them. So that brought me to my dream pairing. You know, you've got all these great comparisons, I get, or pairings with offensive coordinators. You've got, you know, Shanahan and Matt Ryan. Shanahan and this year you've got Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. My dream matchup or pairing for offensive coordinator and quarterback is Steve Sarkisian and Blake Bortles. I would be so interested to see how bad that offense is and how little they score. But at the same time, it would just be fun to watch because they'd never get to the red zone so you don't know how bad that would be. I mean, we all know Blake Bortles is trash. I mean, the dude is just terrible. He's not an NFL quarterback. He's probably better than Colin Kaepernick if you ask David, but hey, we all love David. Shout out to you, David. Getting into the rest of that game, Atlanta came out hot. They moved the ball down the field early. They got into the red zone. They stalled the first possession, got stuffed at the goal line. They went for it on 4th and goal, didn't get it. The Eagles, I was expecting it to be a high-scoring game, you'd think, with two pretty high-powered offenses, but at the same time, it was Nick Foles at quarterback, not Carson Wentz. Alshon Jeffrey was out. He's out for a few more weeks with a shoulder issue. Matt Collins was out. He's kind of a big play threat that the Eagles have on the outside. Nelson Aguilar looked okay. Zach Ertz played pretty well. Corey Clement looked really good in the passing game, and he made some big plays, but on the whole, it was just not a lot of excitement. There was a lot of penalties. There were a lot of, the catch rule was still an issue. Julio Jones, I thought made a great over-the-shoulder catch where he slid, bobbled the ball, but maintained possession of it out of bounds. And they called it incomplete, reviewed it, kept the call as an incomplete pass. Kind of killed the momentum of the Falcons at that point. Had to punt. Eagles go down. And from it of the game, and that's something you'd hate to see. And then there was a play Atlanta had punted. Eagles blocker on the punt team wasn't paying attention. Apparently, decided he was just going to run right into the ball. Gave Atlanta the ball with a chance to score. Came up short again. It was just not a fun game to watch. It ended just like the game in the playoffs last year ended, with Matt Ryan throwing the ball away on the last play of the game. But it's the first week of the season. There's a lot of things to kind of work out still. So hopefully next week things are better. And yeah, that's about it for that game. For fantasy this week, I guess I can jump into some of that real quick. Let's see. If you've got any questions for who you should play this week, if you want to hit me up on Twitter at lparrish22, do it. I'm here. I'll help you. I'll help you get that money, get that moolah, get that cheddar. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for the people. Let's see. There's also the last word on sports, the fantasy football section. I'm helping them out this season. You can send questions to them at LWOS Fantasy Football, I believe. any questionnaire type thing of who should I play, who should I sit. You can send your questions to them. I'll retweet it from my personal account as well. Help get that word out there, get the vibe going. You know what I'm saying. Yeah. So this week, there's some fantasy implications, I guess, with the weather in Pittsburgh. We all know Le'Veon Bell's not going to be playing this week. James Conner's a great choice if you want to fill in at running back for Pittsburgh. But there's supposed to be a lot of rain in that game, so I would expect a lot of handoffs, a lot of run game. I wouldn't be very high on any of the receivers in that game. I mean, obviously you've got Antonio Brown. He's going to do. He's going to do his normal thing. He's going to go out. He's going to get catches. But guys like maybe Juju Smith-Schuster or James Washington, if you're stuck with him on your team, Josh Gordon. I don't know if he's even going to play yet. Jarvis Landry, he's a good target guy, but I don't know if he's going to have a lot of targets in the rain. I don't know how comfortable they're going to be throwing the ball with Tyrod Taylor. The defenses would be interesting to play in this one just because of the weather. It's going to be a sloppy field. It's going to be hard to move the ball. There should be some turnovers for both sides. Tight ends is probably, if you're going to go with a pass-catching option, tight end's the best way to go because you're not going to be throwing the ball deep really with a wet ball sticking underneath and just kind of hitting up the middle of the field. You've got Slater perfect for, and then you've got David Njoku, I think is a great option here. Let's see, any other game? What games you guys want? Let's see. Boom. Let's go with the Giants-Jags. Okay, cool. Good call. Let's see. The Giants, Saquon Barkley's going to get a lot of touches. He'd probably get upwards of 30 touches total. He's going to be used. I mean, they need to threaten that offense. Eli Manning sucks. If only they had Davis Webb. I mean, the Dragon. His arm is just too strong, as he said himself. Odell Beckham, I think, it's iffy with him because he's going up against Jalen Ramsey, who's probably the best corner in the league. And if he's not, he's going against AJ Bouye, which is top 3 corner in the league. So I would probably stay away from using Odell in like a daily or a weekly fantasy situation. But if he's on a league roster, I mean, you have to play him. He is a number 1 receiver. The best option for this game, if you're going to go with the Giants' weapon, is Evan Ingram. The Jags do have a lot of good tight ends or good linebackers, excuse me. But they're going to get to Eli really quick with that pass rush, and he's going to have to throw the ball. He's going to have to kind of get it out as quick as he can, and that's where Evan Ingram's going to kind of tear up the middle of the field near the line of scrimmage. I think he's going to get a lot of catches in a PPR format. It's going to be great for a team. For Jacksonville, they do have a good offensive line. They picked up Andrew Norwell in the offseason. So Leonard Fournette's a big name to watch, of course. The Giants do have a pretty good front four that's kind of getting disrespected. My bad. English is a little bit difficult sometimes. It's been a long day. But yeah, I'm not going to touch Blake Bortles or any of those receivers. Their top receiver was Marquise Lee. He got hurt. I'm not touching Blake Bortles simply because the Jags had to go out and sign Austin Seferian-Jenkins to give him a big enough target that he can't possibly overthrow him. But hey, my money's on Bortles. I think he can still do it. I think he overthrows him at least 3 times. I think he throws a lot of picks. I think Landon Collins whoops his ass. And yeah, Jacksonville, it's tough to put them in the playoffs, honestly. Yeah, they have a good defense, but it's not. It's hard to carry an offense 2 years in a row, especially in today's NFL. So that's enough of that game. Let's see. I'll jump into the Dolphins. Who do the Dolphins play? The Dolphins play the Titans this week. So there's not a lot to like in this game, honestly. I mean, Ryan Tannehill's not going to be a versatile threat. He's not going to tear apart a defense. I believe Devontae Parker is out. He broke his pinky finger, I believe. Kenny Stills is good flex starting receiver. The Dolphins also lost starting tight end Marquise Gray. He tore his ACL or his Achilles earlier this week, so he's not going to be there this season. So I guess rookie tight end Mike Gesicki could be an option, but rookie tight ends don't really break out as much as you would expect. They're not really utilized. They don't have that immediate impact that you see at other positions. Kenyon Drake, I think, is the best player fantasy-wise in this game. He's not necessarily a stud or a star, but he's going to be a quality running back, a good second option, I believe, for most fantasy situations. They do have a committee back. I do like rookie Kalen Ballage, but it seems like Kenyon Drake's going to get the bulk of the workload. He's going to be a threat in the passing game. And then on Tennessee's side of the ball, you've got Delaney Walker. I think he's a decent tight end. I don't think he's anything super anymore. He is getting up there in age. Mariota does tend to look his way a little bit, but they expect a lot of big things from Corey Davis this year. Let's see. They got rid of Eric Decker. Jonnu Smith, the backup tight end for Tennessee, I think he's going to have a big year. He's listed as the backup, obviously, with Delaney Walker there, but I think he's going to be a big weapon in that passing game. Obviously, he's not a big fantasy impact right away because we don't know what we're going to get yet, but I think down the line he could be a big waiver wire pickup. And for the last game I'll do, let's do the Niners and Vikings. San Francisco, I would have been really high on Jerick McKinnon, especially in that offense. Kyle Shanahan said he was bummed because he had to kind of scrap his whole game plan. He built everything around McKinnon. Matt Breida's injured. He's not fully back. Alfred Morris is going to be playing. He's not a weapon in the passing game. Plus, he's going against one of the best front sevens in football. Don't expect him to do much. Marquise Goodwin does have the ability to take the top off of the defense. He can be a big, deep threat. Wayne's back there running with him. He's quick enough. He's going to stop him. If they have to, they can put Xavier Rhodes up there, who was listed as questionable, so I don't know if he'll play. I expect him to, but you never know. And you got the best safety in the league back there with Harrison Smith. You're going to shut him down. Let's see. Pierre Garçon, I'm not in the slightest. George Kittle's not even healthy yet. I don't like San Francisco's offense Jimmy Garoppolo is fine, but it's whatever. On the Vikings side, Dalvin Cook has been a full participant late in the week. He should be in for a huge workload in his first game back since tearing his ACL. Let's see. Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen are probably going to split equal reps. I do expect Thielen to be more valuable in a PPR format, but Diggs, I think, has the better big play potential. He has the chance to kind of set the world on fire. We all know the Minneapolis Miracle. Thank you, Marcus Williams. You're a hero. Kyle Rudolph is a big weapon in the pass game. They expect Laquan Treadwell to have a big year. I do think this is going to be a chance for him. I don't think they didn't look his way enough last year. He was getting open, but Case Keenum sucked. That's just the brutal truth. He's not a quarterback. Denver overpaid. I don't know what the hell they were doing. So I think the Vikings offense is much better in terms of fantasy than people might expect because they do have a lot of weapons, but Kirk Cousins and John DeFilippo know how to kind of utilize everybody equally, and they can dominate. The Vikings defense is going to be dominant. They're going to be a great fantasy option as well. I'd be hesitant to play him against Kyle Shanahan because he is a great game planner. He did make Matt Ryan an MVP, and they expect to do the same with Jimmy Garoppolo, but we'll see how that turns out. That'll do it for today's episode. I just wanted to kind of run some things through real quick. Again, shout out to David. He made my day. Keep sending me those stats that aren't stats but are also stats, and you need to keep looking at stats because stats are stats. Shout out to you, bud. That'll do it. Hit that outro music, Luke.